Hello, everyone. Welcome to my show. I've got Mick Mclaren on the other end of this video link. Welcome to the Dark 66. I'm Colin Keelty. I'd like to first apologise. I've had a lot of emails and people asking me why I haven't been online. I'm putting stuff up and that. I was just explaining to Mick, work's got in the way, some personal matters at home have got in the way, but hoping to get a lot of stuff done this year. I'm hoping to come down to see Mick, camp up there for one weekend. But anyway, this is Mick McLaren. Just to get into this, Mick, obviously not a lot of people maybe know you. I mean, you are well known, but for those people who don't, can you give us a bit of a bio, who you are and how you got into this, Mick, please?
Yeah, so I'm a Layline paranormal cryptid researcher and investigator. I got into this first with Laylines, working on Laylines. Started at a place where I went to a conference, and it was a mysterious Earth conference, and there was somebody talking there about Laylines, and that straight away sort of piqued my interest because not only they were talking about it, but after we could all have a go on dowsing rods. At the time, I was hopeless with them, they're just no good at all. It does take a while.
I've actually had a go with those. You're right, it does. I've
Yeah,
never had any, but
you've got to just stick to it until eventually they work for you. But once they work, that's it. It's just so easy to just put them in around, ask a question, and they'll move. They'll give you the answer, yes or no. Cross for yes, going in opposite directions. I always do for no. So if I'm asking a question while I'm out,
yeah.
that's what'll happen. So if I'm looking for something when I'm out, say if we're trying it out, and we say, like think about water, show me where the water is. And I walk in a straight line. Now, when we get near the water, because it's where we are when we go up Winter Hill and that. I mean, this is going back some because I don't use them anymore.
Hmm.
As you're going up Winter Hill, it's just full of streams everywhere. There's reservoirs and there's streams going in there and everywhere. So there's always a water source. So you can try it out like that, where you say, like, show me where the water is. So you walk towards it, and as you're going towards a stream, it'll start crossing. And there's a lot of underground streams as well. So it'll cross on them as well. So that's how you know the wicking.
Hmm.
And that's how I would use them. If I were looking for water, I do know the British Gas, sorry, not British Gas, the water companies in England do have, they carry them in the van.
Yeah,
and
they
they
do.
actually use them.
I was going to say that I have actually seen it. I mean, obviously I drive a truck, and I actually seen him. I was in a labour and I saw this guy, and I couldn't believe they're still using them in this modern day age. I thought they'd have some electronic, but there he was going away. It was I mean, it was a bit further up from the truck, but you could definitely see what he was doing.
Yeah, it's amazing because when you talk about this with people, they'll just like poo-poo it and laugh at you. But
Mm.
you've got a water companies that they're actually using it to find water. So yeah, they do work. And well, I got to a point now where I don't need them, because using them so long, um, it's sort of like you start sensing in your body when you're picking up things.
Wow.
Because I think what they are, they're like they're extensions to you. Subconsciously,
Yeah.
your body knows where the water is. So you asking that question, I think this extension gives it a yes or no, what you already know, but it's sort of coming through.
So what do you get? Like a tingling sensation, Mick, or
Um, and talking ley lines, I mean, with water, y- it's sort of like a denseness with water.
hmm.
If there's any, like underground water stream or anything, you I pick it up a little bit, but not as much as when we're out and we're looking at layer lines.
Yeah.
With layer lines, it's sort of like um, the easiest way for put it is it's like you just walked into a bubble with no sound, and not only that, because your ears go. As so you're going into an high altitude, your ears like go like funny, and it's like that. But you almost you get say you got a shot of whiskey or a shot, and you knock it back quick, and you get that little head rush of feeling a bit tipsy.
Yeah.
If you're knocking it back quick, it's like that.
Wow.
That's the feeling you get, and it sort of amplifies, and that it's almost like a dizziness as well. Not dizzy as though you're going to fall over, but almost an head rush dizziness. So when you're moving around, like looking around, you sort of it's sort of like catching up with you. That's the only way it's hard to explain, but that's the feelings I get. And I know when I've like spoken to people about it and told them what I'm feeling at certain places, they do pick it up as well. They pick up the same feelings. I think we've all got this in us. We can all do it. Yeah. But some people, I mean, it's taken me quite, I started in 2012 doing this. Right. So I got to a point now where we can be driving along and we know we've hit something because we get that feeling. So we know, right, this is, I believe this could be a line. And I'll look on the maps. I always leave get the Google Maps out and leave a pin to where I felt this. And then when I get back, I always see where it could be coming from. And I usually find like lines here, there and everywhere, because you'll see like churches and stone circles, burial mounds and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of ley lines, isn't there, on these things?
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's what I'm going to come to next was, like when you start looking at this and you start seeing where these lines cross, this is where we start seeing things happening as well. This is where the strange phenomenon starts coming out. And you do get, like the black dogs, like the black shuck. And that has been, we know that's been going on a long time. And it's always at these, where I find crossroads with the layers.
Yeah.
And around burial mounds as well. We get a lot around burial mounds. And then we start going on about the, like the dog man. And seeing, like we're like for example, up on Winter Hill, there's a road that goes along called Belmont Road, and there's woods on one side that run quite long. It's called Tockles and Roddlesworth Woods.
Yep.
On the other side, you've got a few fields, and then you've got an house, and it's along this main road where there's a few things happening now. Just over on the opposite side of this field, there's a burial mound called Roundloaf. And this I've come across through reading in books, through going up there myself and looking around and finding all the points around it. I found about 20 layers coming from this one area.
Wow. Now,
the one which goes near this road runs through where sometimes we do a bit of camping, and we get out there and do our investigations. Now, as along this line, there's been quite a few things happening. I've had reports. Steve Mira has worked up along this road as well. He's had account from the same place, from this actual house.
Yeah, in his Steve, he is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. And if you ever hear him talk about the Murphy case, that is what I'm on about. Happens here. Now, I've had quite a few reports from there. I've had lights coming over the canopy when people have been in there doing wild camping, all in this one particular spot. I've had people driving past, looking into the woods, thinking there were a pub in there. Now, the pubs around there, the miles away compared to this spot. It's just,
so they're seeing these lights then?
They're seeing the lights in the woods while they've been driving past, and they're seeing a bit of a mist, and they've seen they've seen figures moving around in this mist, little figures.
Wow. So you think that's UF connected or paranormal, or what do you think? I
would think. I mean, that then three reports and Steve's Murphy's reports, and there's another one where something came out of the woods, and it was almost shaped like a whale without the tail on the end, but it had a swirling like metallic liquid going inside it, and it came out of the woods along the road and went up towards an area called Great Hill, and on the other side of Great Hill is this burial mound.
Okay.
So we got 4 reports. So what I was would put it down to UFO activity.
When did it got to this burial mound? Did it disappear? What happened?
Well,
you know?
Before it gets to the burial mound, you go over an hill called Great Hill. It sort of like went along the grass, and the people who were driving along, they had a long day at Blackpool. They were coming back, and he actually said to me as he was driving along, he didn't know what to think, and he just looked at his wife and said, "What did you see then?" So she said, the exact same thing as what he was thinking, that what they'd seen.
Yeah.
But it sort of went into the field and just got smaller and smaller as it went towards the hill. And they just drove on. I asked him about missing time. He said he just remembers he wanted to get out of there, and they just shot off home.
Yeah. Oh, my neck.
So that's all in this one place. And further into the woods, following this line, you've got another fellow who I interviewed who said he saw almost a little elf type fairy creature jumping up on a wall and jumping away from him. And he said it was almost like how he explained it was like a leprechaun. And it jumped up on wall. And only recently I've had a report from somebody else saying they've seen a similar thing.
What, in the same area?
In the same area. But this one was wearing almost like a boiler suit, only 2 foot high, but they said it had a really wide mouth. So we've got all sorts of strange things happening in that area.
Yeah,
yeah, that's it's just a strange one. That
trying to imagine it. Yeah. Have you had any more reports? I've had a couple. Well, I've had people saying the same fairies, which I think I've seen them, but I'm not 100%. But not leprechauns out. I have had a woman years ago contact me. She reckons she could chat to these things, but then that was it. That just dried up. I never did find out. So. Good. Just going back, Mick. You was on about on these ley lines, and you says you'll get like total sound gone.
Yeah,
like you're in a bubble.
Yeah.
My second sighting, I can't tell you where it was. It's in some private woods. I've been told to never mention these woods. But when I was walking in there and I had my second sighting, I had the same thing. So do you think I was on a ley line? I've never checked this theory out, but do you think it could be a possibility?
I think the only way you can look at that is where you were, look on the map, and see what other sites are around. If there's a church or if there's any burial mounds around there, or any stone circles or standing stones on their own.
Stone circles not far. So
right. So what you need to do is where you are is see how many other sites there are along that line.
Yeah.
So from where you are to the stones, and then see what's further, and then go the other way as well.
Right. Okay.
And see if there's any that way. Because a ley line is classed as it's if there's 5 or more sites along that line, and usually you will get a church on, because a lot of the Christian churches they built the churches on old pagan
I've read this before. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll have to look into it. I've never really thought or even connected it, to be honest. But when you says you got no noise, no sound, nothing, that's the same thing as I got.
Yeah.
It was like being in a bubble. Everything just died. All the beds, noise, everything just gone.
Well, it's one of the first questions I always ask a witness how they felt.
Yeah.
What did they hear? Did it go quiet? And I do get a few. I mean, a fella called Paul from the Wigan Flashes, he said he heard some humming over the top of him, and he felt as though he was in a bubble of silence. He had this humming going over the top. He said it got dark, but when he looked up, there was nothing there. Now, when I say it got dark, it was like in summer when there's a cloud going in front of
the
sun,
shadow.
dips a bit. It was like that. This happened to him, but it happened to somebody else in the same place a couple of weeks before or a week before. They'd heard the sound, but what they'd seen was an ape-like creature going into the bushes and disappearing at the same time.
Wow.
She was terrified. She was out walking the dogs. This is the Wigan Flashes are called. It's like a wetland sort of area.
Yeah,
Wigan.
marshy.
Marshy. And that. I mean, it didn't used to be. It used to just be like fields and fields, but all the mines underneath have collapsed. And as they've collapsed, it's formed water. So it's like a nature reserve now. And it's got a canal running straight down the middle of it. Because Paul, who said he experienced that, he felt all the hairs on his arms and back at neck go up at the same time.
Yeah.
But as he heard the humming, he sort of sensed that there was something there. But he said it moved along the waterway, along the canal, and moved away from him.
Wow. So that's got, I don't know. Yeah, it's got to be something maybe, I don't know, extra UFO type of.
That's exactly you think. My thought is that whatever this was, it was cloaking itself.
Yeah.
And for him to hear this noise, this humming noise, and actually feel, getting goosebumps up his arms and back and neck, and moving along the waterway. He knew it was going in that direction with noise, and how he felt as it were moving along. Now, that was heading from Wigan towards Winter Hill again.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of cloaking on. I mean, I know our guys in USA, they seem to get a lot. I've had a couple of reports of people saying they think this thing was cloaked, but, I've never experienced it myself, but I'm sure it does happen as well, and I'm sure it does exist.
Yeah, I mean, if you hear of these reports, like the 1 minute they're there, next minute they're just gone.
Yeah, there was a good one on the internet a while back. I think it was a couple of years ago. That woman in that deer stand in America. I can't remember where it was now, but you could see this thing coming through the trees. But you could see.
Oh yeah, that was on the was it the?
Yeah, I can't remember now, but I remember seeing that.
Missing.
Yeah, 411 was it?
411. Yeah, it was on one of the documentaries. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they've made a reconstruction of the video, and that was wow. I know there's quite a few cloaking things going on.
Well, saying that, me and Caroline, my partner, we've experienced it.
Yeah.
At an area on the other side of Winter Hill, in a place called Entwistle. And it's a couple of reservoirs with all these woods around. And we were in there one evening. What's strange about this place is there's an area called Fairy Battery, which is really strange, and it's quarried.
That's something to do with the war? Or?
I'm not sure. I don't think
there's a weird name, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I don't think there is anything around there. Well, I've looked into what is around there, and there's nothing to do with any war tank situation around that area.
Okay.
But where it's quarried out, the rocks underneath are so red. I mean, it's amazing to look at. You can imagine a quarry wall, which is like that orangey colour. You
think it's quartz?
I'm unsure what it is. I mean, I'm not sure what that is there, but it does stand out, and it's like red, and when sun's going down, it looks amazing. I'm saying I've taken a few
It does actually, yeah. But that's
pictures of
good,
that.
You have to take some pictures on your new camera.
Yeah, yeah. We've not been up to that area for a while, but I will do next time I go and put them up. But we was in this area and we were walking along, and it was a lovely evening. Sun hadn't gone down. We were ready to go down. When you're in this area, because the trees are that dense, it gets darker in there anyway.
Quicker, yeah.
Quicker and that. So we're walking along, and at first I looked over and I thought, oh, my glasses are dirty. And I noticed Carolina stopped. And she'd not said anything. And I was looking over and I thought, that's strange. I took my glasses off, give them a wipe, put them back on, and it's still there, this thing. And it's the only way I can explain it is that it was an outline of a very small person up a tree. Where you could see through it.
Again, the cloaking effect, maybe.
Yeah. And it reached over with a very long, it looked like a really long arm, and it reached over to a branch. Now, the tree was moving a little bit as well, and it was a nice day. There were no wind, and the tree was moving a bit as it moved over, grabbing whatever. And then it sort of like just faded into nothing, and it worked, it had gone. And I turned around to Caroline, and she said, she'd taken the glasses off because she thought, oh, my glasses are dirty, I give these a wipe. So she saw the exact same thing.
Well, isn't that amazing? Both of you seen it, so it's not just yourself.
Well, that's it. It's confirmation, isn't it, when there's somebody else who's seen it? Yeah, definitely.
The reason I asked about quartz, I remember reading, I've totally forgot who did it, but there's a couple of researchers put a paper forward, and there was on about the Loch Ness and Pogo in America and all like that, all where these sea serpents have been seen. They've done studies, and every lake that's been seen or something's been seen on the land near it or the lake is absolutely drowned in quartz. And they think it's some type of portal type of scenario.
Yeah.
Because, we all know, you can get quartz watches. Quartz is used in a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
So, it transmits electric. So they think it's opening some type of dimension portal type of thing. And I can't remember the researcher now, but when I read that, I thought, wow, that's quite interesting. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of quartz around Winterhill.
That's what I mean.
In the rocks, because there's a great big quarry there. And in fact, when you're walking along, you can just, like when you look down, it looks like sandstone, and you see all the little bits of you reflecting it in sun,
like glitter,
glitter and that, yeah. A lot of it quartz. There's a lot of white quartz up there because I've just picked it up. Excuse me. I've just picked it up off ground and brought it home. So it's full of quartz and white quartz.
The quartz connection is really sort of fascinating. If the guy who ever put that report forward is listening to this, I do apologize because I cannot remember your name, but when I read it, I thought, wow, that is actually something really. This report had been going on for about 5 years, researching. They've been to America and done it over there in England. To put that forward was quite good, really. I'll try and find it and send you it, Mick, to be honest. I'll try and look out a bit more.
Well, I do wonder with Laylines sometimes whether that's it, whether it's lines of quartz in the earth as well.
Yeah, making some type of connection. I think everything's connected, to be honest, in some form. But how? That's where we do our research, really.
Yeah.
So why do you think actually Winter Hill is actually such a magnet? Do you think it is the quartz, Laylines, or do you think there's something else connected there?
Well, we've got the mast as well, though, the big television mast.
Okay.
And I do know that there's a lot of radiation coming from that.
Mm-hmm.
So, there could be an attraction there with the quartz around the area as well.
Yeah, it could be resonating it, really.
Yeah, it could be, and that's what they could be attracted to. I I can't think of anything else only the quartz and the ground and the radiation coming from the masts and around that area. They do a lot of what they call they're flying around on the little motor at the back.
Oh, like hang gliding type
And
of thing.
gliding.
That's it.
They do that. There's warnings around there telling them not to come too close because of the radiation.
Right,
But they
okay.
still go up there flying because it's quite an high up point.
Yeah, they'll get the same ones, won't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're up there quite a lot. Quite good going up there and getting a few shots at them while they're up there.
We've got one. I don't know. We used to be regular over here where I am, and it's not that. I mean, you know where I am. But yeah, it used to be quite regular. But I haven't seen him for a while now. They used to come really right down.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe there's any thermals here, but there is. There must be. So.
Well, I know when it's like this, when the weather's nice, they're up there.
That's it. Tis been up. Been up at work today. You had any more recent reports? Anything like that, Mick, you can share with us or anything?
When we go camping in the area where all these strange things are happening, I've had a report of a wild camper out there who has seen shadow movements within that area.
What, like shadow people or actually just
he said he's just seen shadow movements, shadows that have moved in what Lucas are watching.
Okay.
And then the 1 minute they're on one side of him and the next minute they're on the other side.
Yeah.
Now around that area, not far from there's a little hill. It's I can't remember the name of it now, but it's somewhat law, and law is another word for burial mound. It's another area what people like use the term law for burial mounds. So yeah, that's what I've had around that area. So perhaps I don't know. Again, is this like somewhat from that burial mound around there? Is it?
There's a lot of connection with burial mounds, like you said. There is. I mean, even I've had reports from near, graves or burial mounds.
Yeah.
There is definitely a connection, but what the connection is, I don't know. Having said, I'm not. Well, I promise I won't say anything, but I can only give you bits of information because the guy who put this claim forward is one of our fantastic police officers.
Right,
do a fantastic job. Officially, I can't give you the date because they're able to, trace him down. All I can say it was March this year. I don't know if you've travelled down the 1079 from York up to here when you come up here, or.
We tend to just.
I don't know which way you'll come, to be honest, but I've never really looked. But anyway, he was on the 1079 as they were coming back from Beverley, from York, if anybody knows the area. He says it was 2:30 in the morning. They do this not often, but they do this sort of like round now and again. It depends who's on the rotor, he says. And 2:30 in the morning, coming past Bambi Moa. I think it's Bambi. I might have that wrong if anybody's... I think that's how you pronounce it. There's a petrol station. Obviously, it was closed. They just passed the we're just past the petrol station, he says. And within about 150 yards in front of their patrol car, this thing just went from his right to his left. I'm trying to remember the story. I've only just read it, really. From his right to his left. And he says it was definitely on two legs. His partner, or because they're in twos, says, "Was that a deer?" And he says, "How many deers do you see on two legs?" Now they weren't sure it was a guy in a ghillie suit, so they did stop. He got his torch out. They both did the searchlights, looking around. They couldn't see anything, but he says, "I got the most awful sensation of dread and fear." He says, "I've never felt that like that before." And in the end, he says, "We just got in the patrol car. I went back to the station. I can't tell you which station." And they mentioned it to a couple of colleagues, and basically it got laughed out of the room. So he started doing some research. He saw me, he saw several people, including maybe yourself. The reason he picked on me, my last name, I have a relative that's in the police force with the same name. So he says I knew the name, but I couldn't make the connection until then he spoke to me and I said, I know it is, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I've just had that one. Well, I got it 3 days ago. So yeah, that's a bit of an interesting one.
So how far away from Beverley and Barston Drain is that?
Well, it is far. I know Bamson Drain splits into many little avenues. But no, I don't think it's. I have to have a look on the map. I don't think it's anywhere near Barnby Moor. I don't think there is.
Excuse me. But that whole area is well known for this, isn't it?
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, I was out with Jamie Atkins a few weeks ago. We did Beverley Common. I used to do that years ago, to be honest with you, Mick. And I've had a hit there there's an old bridge, if anybody knows Beverley Common, and it's all fenced off now. I think it's in rack and ruin, really. It's going to go in. And I got hit there years ago. Well, I heard a growl. I want to know if it was a growl or a moan. And I felt like I've been watched. Anyway, after a bit, I went back to the car. But I took him down there, and I couldn't believe I was walking up there, and he says, "Oh, I got a growl here last year, same spot." I thought, wow. And I told him about my incident. And that's Bamson Drain. But he didn't believe how much Bamson Drain actually splits because I showed him on a map. And he thought it was just one piece of, he didn't even know it went into Hull because I've had hits from Hull. If anybody knows Bankside in Hull, I've had a couple there saying something that was early out. I've had another woman, she didn't live far from Bankside. She was coming home from a nightclub and she says she swears something large like a wolf was under a street light, just stood there watching her. I've had a few from the Bounce and Drain areas all over. There is connection with water, and there is around the canals, around Joe, and I've had reports from them. Leeds Canal, I've had a woman from there. She thinks this thing pushed her to the ground and was going to attack her. That's another story. But luckily, she says it ran off. So there is a connection with water courses, like you say, Laylines, burial mounds. There's a connection there, all right.
Yeah, even railway lines.
Railway lines, that's true. Yeah. I mean, especially in America, I know I speak to a lot of guys in America, and they reckon Bigfoot is actually, if you want to see one, follow either these overhead power lines or a railway line. He says you'll come across one. Now, I don't know that probably, but...
Well, same again with the one at Wigan Flashes I was talking about a bit ago. It's, there's power lines going through. There's a railway line going through. You've got a canal going through, and then you've got all these bodies of water around it.
You see that Beverley Common, they've got overhead power cables going through. So, yeah, there could be a connection. But definitely is with water. I know that the amount of people I've had boating people, these canal boats, I've had a few of them contact me saying they've seen something which they can't explain, obviously, so I don't know what they've seen. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I need to do over here because I know we've got not far from Winterhill, further up going towards a place called Autumn. There's the Liverpool Lease Canal going along there.
In the reservoir there, I've heard something. I don't know if I'm thinking of something else.
No, there are a lot of reservoirs around that area as well. We've got Anglesark Reservoir going on to Rivington Reservoir. There's a set of about 4 different reservoirs on one side. This is on the Rivington side. Yeah. So this is like on the east side of Winterhill. It's wooded area. It's got all these reservoirs, 4 of them. And then on the opposite side, in Roddlesworth, there's 2 or 3 reservoirs in there as well. They're a little bit smaller than what are on the other side. Winterhill it's got what, like on both sides with rivers running in. Yeah.
Have you had any reports from these reservoirs, Mick, at all? Anything?
Never.
Never.
It's always in the woods. It's always on the hill itself or around the hill itself.
Hmm.
But the reservoirs and the rivers are close to where all these things have happened as well. So if you're in a wooded area, I mean, again, Tockles, it's got a river running straight through it.
Yeah.
On the other side, wherever it reports, is a river running through the wooded areas on that side as well as the reservoirs on either side.
That's it. There is a connection. In your personal opinion, Mick, I mean, everything seems to be recently in all this cryptozoology. I mean, I'm into all sorts of monsters, but if that's the best word to use. But what do you think actually dogmen actually are? Do you think they're flesh and blood UFOs? In your personal opinion?
Well, I think.
Do you think there's a breeding population in Britain?
I, I don't know. It's an add-on this.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Because I always tend to think every time something happens with the dog mount where I get reports of it, it always seems to be supernatural. It disappears.
Right.
You hear of people seeing them, like maybe the top half of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's never any footprints. But
yeah, which is a good one, is that, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, I've got some prints, but they are large. But
yeah, I mean, we last time we camped out in this area, there were the team and a few others who have their own YouTube channels. Leon Howarth, who has no.
Yeah, I don't know Leon. Yes.
Yeah, well, he came out with us, and we were looking around, and we were like around this certain area where we felt an atmosphere around.
Like you're being watched.
No, it was more of a. It felt as though it was busy. There were people around. Yeah, and for myself, yeah. I mean, there were others who were feeling a bit uneasy, but Leon, he was walking off with his camera, and he found this one footprint. And now he went back and got a cast of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be seeing him on Saturday night, so I'll see the cast then and see.
Yeah, if you can send me some pictures, and that's Leon, if you could, I'd love to see that.
Well, I do know while we're out there this Saturday, we're going to that area, and he's going to do a live feed. I know me saying that this won't be going out then, but you might end up seeing it on that.
Yeah, I might do. But I'm with Ian Wood this Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll look forward to it. I'll give you a link to it, and yeah, I'll have a look.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll send you.
Thank you.
When it's done.
So what's the new equipment that you bought then? You keep bragging on the line that you've got some new equipment. Come on, Mick, show us.
You see that? It's
you froze up. I got it. Canon.
It's a Canon EOS 80D.
They're good cameras, them.
Yeah,
brilliant cameras.
It is. Yeah, and it's really good for filming.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've been taking quite a few good shots with that.
I nearly bought one myself, but I ended up getting the Nikon 7200. But and I've got that 800mm sports lens and a ghillie silk.
Yeah.
I have bought the ghillie silk twice, and I've been hidden bushes. A lot of people laugh when I tell them, but yeah, that's what I do. But that's it. I've never caught anything, obviously, but
I've not done that.
What, hid in a bush with ghillie silk?
No, I've not done that. Ghillie silk, yeah.
You only get one stars. Really quiet. I mean, you've met me, Mick, and what did you say? The first thing, I thought you was taller.
Oh, I thought you were taller than what you were.
Yeah, that's it. So you get these ghillie silks in one star, so it bloody buries me. It's bad. I don't like swearing online, but yeah, it buries me. So I've tucked it all up. I need somebody to properly do it. I can't do that type of stuff, but yeah, it's a bit of a sight, really. Yeah, I've only ever done it twice. I put game cameras up. Do you put game cameras up, Mick?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've got a few up now because up here it's been a bit dry, and I thought if I've got two, which I've got one around a river which is running quite low
Yeah.
at the moment, and then I've got another one further up, like at the top of the river, up the slope a little, because in that area I've had a reporting of a large cat.
Right.
Someone were out there taking photos one morning, and they said out of the corner of the eye they saw sort of like movement, but as they looked, it was this big cat. He said he was that close to it that it was like really dark brown in colour,
But
and
I
you
bet
could
he didn't.
see a bit of a pattern in it.
I bet he didn't feel threatened. I've seen him 3 times
Well,
in 30 years.
he said he it hissed at him, but walked
Oh,
off.
right.
That's how close it was, because he's quiet with his camera. That comes along, doesn't mustn't to realise he was there, and it's seen
Maybe
it hissed
maybe
and
spoke the cat a
walked
bit.
off.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that last one I ever saw, it just crossed it. I was doing if anybody knows East Newton, past Alba. I was doing an investigation up there because the farmer sent me a picture of this print. And I'd gone up there and I'm walking down this track and I saw this deer coming. I mean, it was in harvest time, just before harvest time. I thought it was a bird skimming the top of the corn or
yeah,
whatever it was. And when it got close, I thought it's a deer. And I thought it was running towards me. I thought, well, that's strange. Then it saw me, stopped, looked back, looked at me. Then it went off in another direction. I thought, what the heck spoke that? With that, this cat walked out in this lane. Can't have been more than 20, 30 yards from me. Looked at me, like to say, good morning. Looking forward, went back into the car and gone. And I stood there for a while and I thought, shall I go? Shall I go back to my car? And I thought, oh, I'll go. And I never saw it again. So I don't know. But I didn't feel threatened. Not at all.
no, I don't think they are threatening. They don't seem to
No.
be. People see them, but you never hear of any attacks, do you?
No. I
I
know
think
there was I read a report down south. I can't remember what it was, but he got attacked, but he cornered it. You corner
well,
any
yeah,
wild animal. Come on.
yeah.
So
It's
he
gonna go for
deserved it. He only got scratched and it ran off, but
just warning him and then going
that's
off.
it. Excuse me, I'm just getting a bit of coke. I don't know if you can hear these fans, but I've gone blaring out here. It's blooming hot. Don't know what it's like where you are. Is it?
It is hot, but we live in a very old cottage,
All right.
and the walls. It was built in 1862,
Okay.
and the walls are about 2 foot. So
So keep it
it's
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
But in winter it's cold. In summer it's perfect. It's lovely and cool.
I actually know somebody who's done one of these eco builds with these bales, and their wall must be about, I don't know what it is, 3-4 foot thick. But he says it's gorgeous in summer, and in winter, like you say, it's warm.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they hardly need any heating.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it looks beautiful though. It is off the grid a bit, but it is nice. So what's the future for Winter Hill investigation team? Is there any future? You got anything planned, Mick?
Well, we've got loads of things planned at the moment. We Lee and he's very busy at the moment because Lee works for himself. So and
Right.
not only does he work, he has his own like little place where he works in Wigan.
Yeah.
He goes up to Cumbria and he has a caravan up there.
I ain't been up
And
there for ages.
he works there as well.
Mm.
So he's always in between.
Right.
So as soon as like when we're sort of like make appointments, so we'll meet each other, and then
As you do.
Yeah. Like this Saturday, like it's a big thing, so everyone's going to be there. Denise, she gets out and about sometimes on her own.
Yes.
Yeah. She's quite fearless, Denise. She's been known to just get a grandson, a son's dog. He has a little pug, and I call it Bait. But she goes.
Them two lads I go out with, I call them Bait.
She goes up up on Winter Hill sometimes, going for a walk with dog. She's quite fearless, but she's had a lot of things happening all at once, which made her quite busy.
Mm.
So me and Caroline have been out and about as much as we can. Anything happens, and we just tell them.
Well,
Lee usually rings me on a
yeah.
Thursday.
But like I say, I mean, I'm dying to get up to you, and I have been for months, as you know. Obviously, I've told you my work situation. It's just beyond a joke at the moment at work.
Soon as you're free, and you know.
Well, yeah, I can't this weekend. Like I say, I've got Ian Wood coming down next weekend. I'm out with Alison and Paul Sinclair.
Yeah.
So maybe the following weekend, but I'll come down, bring my tent. I'll just pick you up, and I'll disappear in the woods even on my own. I mean, you're looking. Sorry, I've dropped my pen. I always like to play with a pen when I'm talking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't. But if you do that,
you're lucky.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what you're playing with, Mick. Thanks. But anyway, but you're lucky to have a team. I mean, I'm at 9 times out of 10. I mean, I know them two guys sometimes come with me, but they're not totally into it. And I really need, if anybody's listening, somebody in the Yorkshire area to team up with. And obviously you feel safer in twos, don't you?
You do, yeah. I do like getting out on my own, though.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I do. I like my own company, and I mean, I've done it at night as well, and I've just sat there with my night vision. Yeah, I've never had any hits. Like your trail cameras, I've had loads. I've never had any hits. I don't know if I've told you that, but I got this report from this farm, and he says, "Oh, come up," and I went up. I said, "Can I put a trail camera up?" He says, "Yeah, of course you can." He says, "Put them down that field up there, on these trees." He says, "It won't get touched." Brilliant. And I was panicking. I don't know why. I was panicking. So I went down, set my trail camera up, got in the car, went home, and I'm panicking all week. I'm thinking, I hope it's there. Nobody's took it out. I mean, they cost money, don't they? And, anyway, I went back, and I rang the farmer to say that was coming down to his land, because I didn't want him, panicking and see whose car was on his land. And I went and got my trail camera, and I didn't even switch the blooming thing on. And I was absolutely gutted. And he'd had a sighting or something in it which he couldn't explain in that area, and I was absolutely kicking myself. Anyway, he come up, I saw him as I was driving up. Anything on the camera? And I says, yeah, I've got a rabbit and things like that. And I was just making it up as I went along. I didn't tell him. But yeah, but now I says, I'll see you next week. He always says, like, come up and put your trail cameras up anytime. But yeah,
that's good. That's good.
I just couldn't believe I never switched it on.
Yeah, I've done something similar myself with the box. I've got it, put it on tree, got it all ready to turn it on. Because I have two, but the one I was using it's set up to my phone, so when it's closed, I can look at my phone.
Man, just basic, but
yeah, and as I turned my phone on, it just said, no SIM, no card. No, I've not put any card in there. Now it doesn't record onto the camera; it records onto cards. I didn't have any SD cards on me, so after doing all that,
I've just been waiting actually for a guy, but it's got nothing to do with any. Well, Bamps and Drain, a big firm in Hull, just bought part of it and they was going to build on it. And I actually knew the boss and I approached him. I says, can I put some cameras on Bamps and Drain? With it being private, I thought it was going to be safe as houses. And I've been looking forward to it for months. Anyway, about 3 weeks ago, roughly. I can't think what day it was, but he contacted me and said, Cole, the contracts ain't gone through, so you won't be. I thought, oh. And I was really planning on it, getting them down Bamps and Drain. It was a good stretch of Bamps and Drain as well.
My problem is we have got all these places around Winter Hill we can put cameras up anywhere. My problem is that they're all walking places.
That's what I mean.
If somebody sees it, take it.
And you can actually see them lights, I've been out in the middle of the night and picked the camera up, you can actually see the infrared.
Yeah.
So if we can see it, this is what has sort of like questioned it to me. Is it worth putting them up? If we can see it, I'm sure these creatures or whatever can see it.
Well, I think it's worth, it
is worth having a go, but
if you put it up and you capture, something else, you know, like where we are, where I put a few of mine, there's more than you know, there's these shadow things moving around.
Yeah.
You know, we've got someone who recorded a scream, somebody screaming and somebody walking across. You know,
Okay.
so there's like hauntings and things like that. So it
Hmm.
might pick something up like that. But when it comes to Dogman and you know, Wildman and stuff like that, I don't know whether I think they'd just walk around it. They'd
Yeah, I
not
do. I
be
know
there.
a lot of the US say they can sense these things and they do go around them. And I mean, I've seen videos where you see a hand come round it and playing with it, and it's been ripped off the tree. So I don't know if that's actually the researchers trying to
You never
emphasize these
know, do you?
creatures or faking it or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, or it's actually real. You can't say, can you? But yeah, I have, like I say, I have picked it out one night. I can't remember what time it was. But I know it had gone well after 11, and I'd gone down and I could spot it way ahead before I even got to it.
Yeah.
What the heck's that? Then I realised it's my camera. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can see them. So what's your plans this weekend then? Do you want to tell the public what you go, where you're going, and what you're doing?
Well, the area I was talking about earlier on, where all this activity is happening, there's a few of the teams going out there with a few others.
Hmm.
We've got others who have their own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
There's, I think, there's four of us all together, five of us all together who have our own YouTube channel. So we're going to end up at some point where, you know, we'll have to, if we're talking to the cameras, we're going to have to move away from each other. Otherwise, you know, you're just going to hear people talking in background. But one of them, like I said, Leon, he's going to do a live feed. So we're going to be on that, and he's talking about the plaster cast he did
Yeah.
with the footprint we found there.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That'll be cool. That. Yeah.
The footprint actually, when we saw it, the night we came across it, it's about a size 11.
Wow.
But it's really thick. At the top it's thick, and then it goes
really thin. I've seen these prints like that.
But it looks like 3 toes rather than the all 5 toes.
Yeah.
It's a strange one.
Now, I have seen them. I believe it or not, Mick, I have seen them like
that. Well, unbeknown to me, I was going to go up and get the cast myself.
Yeah.
And I got up there, and it was me and Chris Turner. We'd gone up because we were going to film us part for the film. We're going to film me filling this in, and
yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Anyway, I got there, and I thought that doesn't look right. It just looks like a great big normal footprint now with a load of mud missing. Anyway, so we didn't bother doing that, so we just ended up going back to cars and back up. And then Leon, who got in touch with me and says and shows me a video of himself like with plaster of Paris, you know, like getting it ready.
Yeah.
Guess where I am? And I thought, well, yeah, you beat me to it, sort of thing. But we will be talking about that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that. But I'd like to say, I mean, you know yourself, you get dogs put the front paw, then the back paw in the same print.
Yeah,
it elongates it. I mean, I've had lots of times.
The strange thing about it, there's a lot of stream running outside of it, and nowhere else is any footprints. Only this one.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah.
All on its own.
I remember me and Paul St. Clair, this is going back about 5 years ago, but we found a print on off the cliff top.
So Bebson.
Near Speeton. We climbed down
right, yeah.
To this like landing, and it was just on its own, big print. Now around, there's no way anybody could have walked in, put a false print in, and walked out. It was impossible. It was in the middle of nowhere, and you wonder how the heck has that got there?
I know, because you do tend to look everywhere else, and it's going through your mind. Whatever this is, as it strode that far across that and
Yeah.
striding against the other side, but there's nothing on either side.
No.
You follow that footprint where the front is, it's going to go forward, or
Mm.
at the back there might be some there, but nothing at all. And even walking a few yards, you
Yeah.
don't see anything.
Yeah. But obviously this print was huge. But that report that I did from Longriston years ago, that guy who I interviewed, this thing chased his car, but he says it crossed that road in 2 steps.
Yeah.
So that's heck of a gap, really.
It is, isn't it?
Think about it. He says, I said, you sure? 2 steps. 2 steps. He says it just stepped out and stepped again, and it was in the grass verge and gone. So that's heck of a gap. So you got to think when you see these prints and you look around and there's a good 8 foot, 12 foot gap, you think. But yeah. So I suppose.
All sorts of things go through your mind, as it come through a portal and it's just stepped there and it's gone through into another one.
That's it, yeah. You see, there is this possibility. I mean, I'm open-minded like you, Mick, and I think of all sorts of possibilities. I mean, I look for the logic explanation like you and everybody else, but when you can't find that logic, it opens more questions than it does answers.
Yeah. Well, I'm quite skeptical and I look for other reasons all the time, it's like with the trees sometimes. Where we going doing the camping, a lot of the trees have fallen down on the outside of this area. And I think other bushcrafters have been in there and they've moved them a little bit as well. Possible. And some of them, they've fallen the right way, what seems to be the right way, because the roots have come up with them as well. And then you'll get some other people who'll say, oh, that's Dogman. Or
I have come across this. You get a cross and you get and people say, oh, it's marking its area. I do take pictures. But...
Yeah. Well, that's understandable. I mean, when you do see crosses and the trees have sort of collapsed down and it's resting on some trees and then another one will come down another way. So it crosses. But that's just a change in the winds. And one would have gone down one week, and then a couple of weeks after, the other one would have blown down and hit it, and it stayed like that. Then you get the other ones, which I find strange, is if the roots
snapped.
Well, no, the roots are up in air.
Wow. Yeah, I know a lot of researchers in America, where they say it's Bigfoot, because they're so strong, turning them upside down and ramming them in the ground.
That I do find. I mean, or as the wind, which I know we don't get winds like this, but as the wind knocks it over and it sort of bounced somehow, but I can't see that.
No, I've never come across out like that. I have seen roots in the air a little bit, but not much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
That is very strange.
Makes you think, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you can understand in America you're going to get typhoons and hurricanes and things like that. But...
You can understand, say, if there's a steep banking going up and there's got all these trees and they've just fallen down and it head first with the roots sticking up. But when it's a place where it's just all flat and then you've got this 1 or 2 trees stuck upside down. That's strange. It doesn't make you think.
Yeah, it doesn't make you think. But this subject that we cover all the time, I'm going to get a pen. Sorry, I'm going to have to get a pen. I can't find it. Yeah, this subject, I mean, we study and do all sorts of investigations. It opens more questions than answers, as you know.
It does. You're just forever asking questions. You never seem to get to a conclusion.
No, you don't. And I don't think I don't think we ever will, really. Well, maybe not in our lifetime. I don't know. I'm hoping we will, but
we try.
You've got a YouTube channel out now that you do talking. Is it interviewing?
Yeah, well, it's my YouTube channel. It's the usual, like I have interviews with witnesses on it.
Mm-hmm.
I have interviews with other researchers. which I've just started doing that one. I just want to do something a little bit different, and I've called it Armchair Interviews.
Yeah, I was talking to Alison Buttle, and I've got is it Elizabethan chair? You know them red ones that you've got in that picture?
Yeah, yeah.
Queen Anne or something. Well, I've got one. I said, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Mick's got one. I'm just starting a new channel, and I put that in the background. So.
Oh, did you? I got it. Got there.
I haven't done it yet. I'm just setting a computer. Well, my computer crashed, my old one, and so I bought a new one, and I wish I bought something a bit better because it's really slow. So I'm having problems, technical problems at the moment. So it's not out yet, my new channel.
Well,
I'll send you a link actually to me and see what you think. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Well, that chair actually, it's just a normal chair which I've taken off a catalogue.
Right.
I've cut it and pasted it in the programs I've got. And I've got me sitting on another chair.
Cheating.
And like put it over the top. So it's not my chair, really.
Hey, they're not cheap, Mick. I tell you now. What I paid for that, you don't want to know. It broke my heart, but I wanted it. It was so comfy. It was unbelievable. But anyway, you'll see it anyway. Excuse me. Like I say, you're always welcome here. When you come down, Mick, you can come.
Next time.
Everybody's come here. So
next time I come over, definitely I'll give you a shout. Last time I came over, like I said, it were.
Yeah, you was at your caravan, weren't you?
It was just a little weekend holiday with my daughter and grandson because it been both of the birthdays, so it was like a little bit of a treat. Mm-hmm. I did go over and see Paul though because I wanted to interview him, and he's on that Armchair Interviews. It is the next one on it, which comes out on the first. Next weekend, into the 1st of July.
It's next weekend, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it, so it's a monthly thing.
The first on Saturday?
I
think. I can't remember when else.
I think it is. Anyway, I've got it, so it comes out on the first Saturday of every month.
Okay. Well, if you can send me a link, I'll try and put a link up on my channel. How do you want people to contact you, and what type of information are you looking for, Mick?
They can contact me actually on my email address.
I'll put it up on the end of this, but if you want to tell people now how
Yeah, it's Mick_Mclaren at AOL.com, or they can go on my website. On my website is the email address as well as phone number if people want to contact me that way. I get a lot of people contacting me that way because I work around Winterhill. I have little posters up. And I do get people getting in touch and telling me like experiences, what they've had around there. I do have a like I said, the website, mickmclaren.com, and that is sort of it takes you to all my other things like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And anyone can have me on Facebook. That's the best way. And if they've got any accounts, it doesn't have to be this area as well. Like it can be anywhere in the UK. I'm getting more and more accounts from different places around the UK. And if it's not too far, I don't mind traveling and going to these places and meeting witnesses as well.
It's the best way, isn't it? That's how I found it.
Yeah.
I try and budget for everything that I do. I mean, I live on my own and I'm on my own. So I try and budget, bills and petrol and can I get to this location? And so, it is hard for us sometimes, but we certainly keep at it, really.
Yeah, and what I find out is work, my work gets in the way of what I really...
That's it, man does.
I'd love to give up work.
If I could do it full time, I blooming would. Yeah. But it does work, does get in the way, doesn't it? My boss is pretty good, actually. And when I say I've got to go here, I've got weakness. He don't believe in it, but he tries and compensates for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I do appreciate if he does listen to this, which I doubt it. But he is pretty good. But he does do his best. But some days I think, bugger, I wanted to go so-and-so. It's one of them things, isn't it? It's just, until they get to that retirement age, you've got years yet, Mick. I've only got 10 years.
You're about the same then.
was trying to be nice. I know it shocks you. You got anything to add, Mick, before we go? Or you want to wrap it up? It's up to you.
I'll tell you what, if people want to do this sort of thing, what we do, and get out there around their areas, and they just want to get in touch and ask how to do it and what to do and where to start, sort of thing.
That's a good one.
I don't mind people getting in touch with me and asking me questions about that. Because I'd like to work with other researchers as well, or help other researchers with
well, that's what we're all doing. I know we've, even I have, and you have. We know we've all had certain problems in our life with other researchers. But yeah, it's the aim of the game really is to work together.
Yeah.
He's not better than him, and we're all equal. It don't matter if you do 10 minutes a week or he does 3 hours a week. It don't matter. He's still doing that research.
Yeah.
We all need to just stick together, really.
Definitely, that's right. That's what we should be doing.
But yeah, I'll definitely put everything up on the end of this video, how to contact you, Mick and me. Again, I've had 3 people this year contact me. How do I get into it? How do you come over for you? I know, fee is a choice, danger is real, and you've got to have a big mindset to do this.
Yeah.
You really have, especially when we're on our own.
Yeah, definitely.
I know you have, and I have, and you get twig snaps, and you think, oh, what is it?
Yeah. You do when you're on your own. You might.
Yeah, you man. But so you've got to try and get the proper mindset, and I have tried to teach it to a couple of people. Put it in the back of your mind. I know it's still there. You can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Just keep pursuing it.
And not only that, when people are out there doing this, I know we end up going out at night. But when you do that, you must always go to these places during the day. So you get...
the layout.
Yeah, you know the layout. Because we've been to places where we don't know the layout. And you either walk around in circles or you get lost.
You do. I've done it myself.
Yeah. So
another thing... Sorry, Mick.
So I was saying always go out first during the day.
Yeah, it is the best way. You're right. See the land first. But I'm on my own, like I said. I always tell somebody, a friend, where I'm going, what time I'm going to be there, what time I think I'm going to be back. If I'm later, I let them know. What everything like that. So if out goes wrong, they know where roughly I was. So if out happens. And I think that's a big important thing, really, to tell somebody where you're going.
Definitely, yeah.
Which it never touch wood. It never has to mean anybody else, but you never know.
I have with Google Maps on my phone.
Yeah, I do. I get tracker.
Yeah, I've got that, and I've got my two daughters are always watching where I am, making sure I'm okay.
That's good, that Mick. That's good. Right, I think we'll give it. Oh, before you go, you get one of these.
Oh, brilliant!
So yeah, that's what you can put on your mantelpiece, and you say you've been on culture, and when your career goes downhill, like it probably will do after people watch this, you just point to that and say that's why. And yeah, it gives you a address when we're finished, Mick, and I'll post it onto you, brand new with all the details on it. But yeah, thank you for coming on, Mick. You've been, you're a legend in my eyes anyway. But it's brilliant talking to you, and I hope to meet with you again soon. But yeah, we'll definitely get some research done together. I really look forward to that. You can be my mentor.
When you come over, we'll come bring your tent, and we'll both go out. And
that's a date. You've got a date. Yeah, brilliant. Right, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you. And thank you for everybody who listens to this. Our 2 viewers that I've got. And if you fell asleep, well, tough. And anyway, I'm hoping to, I don't know I'm going to get on next. Several people have asked me to come on, but it's time, work. Like Mick said, everything seems to be against me at the moment. But anyway, thank you, Mick, and thanks for coming on the show, and thank you everybody for listening. If you want to contact me or Mick, please get in touch, or if you've got any questions for Mick, just get in touch with me if you can't get in touch with Mick, and I'll pass them on. But thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mick, Take care while you're at weekend, and hope to see everybody and chat to you soon, Mick. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Night.